Discussions at the Neepawa Town Council, the meeting this week, focused on a few main topics, including the ongoing problem of grease in the sewer lines, the governance of the County Courthouse, and a traffic impact study regarding the subdivision for the new vocational high school. The Public Works Department has several items on the go right now, and Manager of Operations Denise Kay reports that Phase 1 of the Hamilton Street extension excavation is complete, and they are working with consultants to lay out their needs for the next phase before they issue tenders for the work. They have also secured plenty of cold mix to do some pothole patching and just need some favorable weather as they have to be dry to be patched. And speaking as a local resident, I have already seen them out there on a couple of streets where they're bare, patching what areas they're able to. The biggest item they are dealing with is the continued disposal of waste into the residential sewer system at volumes that are not only plugging residential lines, but are enough to plug a sewer main. The town will be looking at implementing some costly fines for violations in the near future, as the cost of clearing the lines, and in some cases repairing them, can be substantial. For anyone who is unsure if they are contributing to the problem or are unsure of what to do with their household grease, it is considered garbage and should be dealt with as such. Grease can be poured into a container like a jar or a tin can, or, if it is not too hot, a plastic container with a lid like an ice cream pail. Then when it solidifies, it should be disposed of in your household waste. It should never go down a sink or toilet drain.
So our Hamilton Street project dig is partial dig anyway. We did the main portion of the excavation. That is complete for now. Looking with our consultants about the next phase of road work to be completed. So they're preparing some numbers for me so that we can start issuing those quote requests out. And I can actually circulate this to council if you guys want to have a look. Here's some of the progress reports, site investigation reports from the consultant when they were on site. The raw water pipeline with the addition of our third well is ongoing. Our contractors have started on that one, and we've had a few meetings with the Water Services Board about the progress on that one. So to date, they have done a whole bunch of fusing, physical work. They've got about 270 meters installed, and they did a pretty substantial tie-in today. I just got word during our meeting that it's complete now. So they're on 15 working days there. So that project's progressing nicely. We've had one ongoing questionable leak, and then the second one kind of surfaced as potential. So I had a consultant come out, contractor come out last week to investigate those. They came back with inconclusive data saying they don't feel there's a leak in either site. So the one foundation I'll be talking to this owner appears just to be groundwater. We'll keep monitoring the area to ensure that it's not a water leak going on, but all signs point to just groundwater and water table, unfortunately. And then the other suspect business has some issues with discoloration and then just air in their water line. And again, we feel that it may be an internal problem that surfaced out because we could not find anything conclusive when we did monitoring on the outside of the building.
Is it when they turn their hot water tap on?
I don't know what side it was on. I know that the site has multiple auxiliary tanks just to make up for surge water and stuff like that. So
yeah, because when the thermostat on the tank is malfunctioning, it overheats the water and creates steam, and then it just jets up.
Yeah, so but there are no cumulative discolorations. That's why we're concerned that if they did have a cracked service line and it was sucking in groundwater, we would receive that discoloration, but no other area of businesses had any questionable water quality. So
but water surges will also disturb long time sediment.
Correct. So we had them in sight, so we thought we would just investigate that site just to be sure we were safe. So we're in the spring, kind of. Public Works has already started doing some pothole patching. They've already secured one of, I'm sure, many loads of cold mix, so we can continue to monitor and patch potholes as they come viable. We do need kind of favorable weather to pothole patch, so as annoying as they are, I can't fill a pothole when it's full of ice. So we just kind of have to wait for stuff to melt a little bit, dry a little bit, and then we can plant that. So they'll do their best to try to dry out these potholes and fill them. So we just ask the public to be patient. With budget discussions, like Councillor Gerard mentioned, we have made discussions and moves towards looking at the rental lease of a pothole patcher again for spring. So I'll be contacting the company on that and ensuring that we can get our hands on a machine for a sizable amount of time. Another concerning item that still is surfacing, and I'm a broken record on this, is grease. We're still seeing ridiculous amount of grease being dumped down the drain by residential houses. Substantial grease. Like abnormal, unhealthy amounts, people. We just had word of one yesterday that we have to go unplug, and that's why we just did another social media post about grease, and we actually went and had leaflets out. We've narrowed it down to 3 houses that are responsible for this. 3 houses plugged a main, okay? And it's likely that not all 3 houses were responsible, so there's potentially 1 house that plugged an 8-inch pipe, okay? This is ridiculous. When I go to conferences and I talk to the colleagues, their first response is, this must be on like Restaurant Row. I says, no, this is residential. And their jaws drop. They cannot believe the headaches we have here with grease. I will be investigating the causes of, and probably bringing something forward. We'll have to investigate a fining process again. Like, you're causing substantial grief to your neighbors, to our infrastructure, to our staff, everyone. And someone's going to have to start paying for this, because I don't think the whole community as a whole should be subsidizing some irresponsible residents.
So will you contact them directly, like speak to them?
We can't narrow it down completely yet, but we've narrowed it down to 3 homes.
Can you potentially go to the 3 homes and say what's happening?
Well, they were not, we
Can
were
you
provided with a leaflet, and then we'll probably do follow-up beyond that.
Yeah, we can't have people at work and get 40 below trying to fix stuff like this. That's just ridiculous.
Something has to be done.
What neighborhood was this in?
This was on First Avenue from, I'll just leave it as First Avenue. So, this was a PVC pipe, so it's not a quality issue with our infrastructure. This is a 100% resident problem.
Very disappointing. We send out through Facebook. We have it on our water bills. I don't know how much more you can.
What, are you scoping the lines again this year?
I'm actually pricing out our own camera unit. That's how frustrated I am.
Yeah.
And that means that I will be looking to recoup $120,000 off the residents that are at fault. So we'll be issuing some stiff fines. Would be my recommendation if we start going down that road. Because I don't think, again, the entire utility should be paying for this a whole. I think that I'd 100% be recommending fines being imposed to
Yeah, I think
guilty parties.
I think we've got to that point all right.
That's my happiness.
Yeah. Well, kind of ranks up there with the potholes.
It does. At least I can treat potholes.
Yeah, you can.
If we can only find a way to fill potholes with grease.
Yeah.
No problems.
The problem is there's many like grease products out there, because I go to a lot of conferences. There's a magnitude of products that are out there. We've experimented with pretty much every one of them. They all work at varying degrees, but they're also not meant to treat the quantity of grease we're encountering. So even the suppliers scratching their head. They love me, but their products can't work fast enough.
It's not just grease, it's the oil products.
Yeah. So it's fats, oils, and greases. So fried grease, bacon fat,
And this
anything
isn't
bad
rinsing
food.
rinsing
This
a
isn't-
frying pan, this is dumping it deep.
Yes.
Yeah. Pails.
There was a YouTube video on how to deal with grease. You take your tin foil and push it in your sink basket and pour it in there. It solidifies, throw it in the garbage can.
So again, we've had many resident suggestions on how to do this. We'll probably again look at contacting a grease drop-off depot point.
We're trying to look at a program of some sort, maybe, even if it's just a few, you get a few trained and maybe a few more.
Make some biodiesel.
But it's garbage. It's hard to get people to realize that, because we're on about garbage and recycle, and grease doesn't seem to fit into either of those. And so I think it's in liquid form. I'll put it where the liquids go. Where when you get where you understand, put it in a vessel of some sort and just put it in your garbage. I think people wouldn't have trouble with it once they convert their thought to that it's garbage.
Yeah.
Put it in whatever it came out of, or put it into an ice cream pail and just set it into the garbage. That's
very true.
Yeah.
The sewer is for the 3 Ps, that's it.
So we're also suspect that this grease is causing us downstream issues at the wastewater treatment plant. Because it's also like coming up our disc filter
Oh, yeah.
at a rate
It would.
we're assuming is faster than it should, and we're wondering if it's just this filming process that's happening with the greases.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a lot of conversation over the past year or so around the County Courthouse, which is located on Hamilton Street in Neepawa. Responsibility for the courthouse is laid out in a provincial act, which was reviewed over the past few months. When it was originally written, the town of Neepawa, arm of Langford, now the municipality of North Cypress Langford, and arm of Rosedale, each had a 1/3 share of all expenses and rents related to the building. The review determined that the arrangement should remain unchanged, and the 3 municipalities should continue to share joint and equal responsibility for the historic site.
This is a letter received from the Municipal and Northern Relations Department of Manitoba, specifically the Deputy Minister. Last year, there was a reach out to their department to take a look at the governance of the Beautiful Plains County Courthouse building and the related legislation. So this is just to give you a little background on this. The County Courthouse building, under the legislation, there is a specific act that names the rural municipality of Rosedale, the municipality of North Cypress Langford, and the town of Neepawa as equal owners of the courthouse building. And over time, things changed, and we're trying to just get this back on track now and kind of stay in the lane, color in the lines, and figure out how we go forward, because it is a big, fabulous, historical building there that we want to make sure gets protected. So anyway, the department reviewed the Beautiful Plains County Buildings Act, which governs this building, as well as other information regarding the building. Department staff also last year met with municipal representatives from all the entities regarding the matter to talk through, the discussion about the governance. The Act provides a framework for the building that includes, in Section 4, clear direction that any expenses and rents shall be divided amongst the municipalities based on the extent of their interest in the building. The Act also provides the Minister with authority to determine the extent of municipal interest in the building in the case of a disagreement. Upon review of the relevant information and considering the intent of this Act to ensure shared municipal responsibility for this building, the Minister's authority is hereby exercised to confirm that the town of Neepawa, the municipality of North Cypress Langford, and the rural municipality of Rosedale each bear a 1/3 share interest in the building equally. These municipalities are directed to ensure that all revenues from the building, including the rental of the building premises to any party, shall be used entirely to offset the expenses associated with the building. Any net profits or expenses related to the building shall be shared among the municipalities in equal proportion. The property's liability taxation is established in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act, and that will remain unchanged. So what that means is the town of Neepawa is unable to collect taxation on that building. It is my sincere hope that this decision will enable your municipalities to move forward constructively with a clear understanding of your joint and equal responsibility for the governance and maintenance of this historical site. The preservation of the historical sites for the benefit of future generations is an important municipal function, and I note the significance of this site to the history of your region.
Okay. Questions?
Yeah, it's been an ongoing conversation with our partners, and because of, there's been a lot of things that have taken place over the course of the last 25 years. So this is really just a kind of a resolution of that, which we sure appreciate the minister coming in. And the partner municipalities have been working as a one third basis while we were waiting for this result. So it essentially will be a question of going forward from this, knowing that that's how it's going to operate, which is going to be great.
Tabled from the last meeting was a decision about signing the Memorandum of Understanding from the Rossburn Subdivision Trail Association until further research could be done around liability issues. It was determined that the deductible for the town would be only $5,000 rather than $25,000, and only payable if they were deemed liable for the incident. The MOU lays out responsibilities for the municipality that are in line with what they are already doing, so council was in favor of signing.
So this was actually brought forward at your meeting, at your last particular meeting of council, and this is a resolution to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Rossburn Subdivision Trails Association in support of the Trans-Canada Trail that runs from Neepawa to Russell. At our particular meeting last time, it was recommended and moved that we table this to get a little bit more information. And so now we bring it forth tonight. One of the pieces of information that they were looking at was understanding better the deductible for in case there is some liability that gets incurred there under insurance. And I think we discussed that night, people were thinking it was $25,000. It is not. We have confirmed with our insurance provider, it's actually $5,000. But she was very clear, that's if you're proven that you're liable. That doesn't mean any incident that would happen on that 1/2 mile trail in our municipality, we'd be liable and have to pay a deductible for anything. It means you gotta be proven liable, that we did something wrong. So, simply falling off of, your bicycle or tripping while you walk is not liable. However, let's just say we knew there was an issue where rocks were on the trail, large rocks, I'm not talking pebbles, and so somebody got hurt, and we knew about it in advance and did nothing to remedy that situation, then we could be held liable. So the point is, do your due diligence, make sure it's safe, make sure it's looked after, make sure it's maintained to a suitable standard, and there shouldn't be any issues.
Okay, any questions?
Lonnie? I think further to that, Denis was able to tell us that, what maintenance we have been doing. The mowing that was in question and the cutting is not outside of what we've already been doing. In fact, we've had, like the letter said, a gentleman's agreement all this time. Without this MOU, this just gives the association maybe a better handle on where everybody's at. And now with further clarification, I think I'm in favor of signing this MOU tonight.
Okay.
And if I could speak on it too, since this is my group that I'm a part of, the purpose of the MOU is just because councils come and go, so it's just so that each council knows what their responsibilities are, and because there's a number of municipalities along the trail, sometimes they forget that this is part of their responsibility to keep their portion of trail maintained as per what's understood under that agreement. So that's all it is just clarifying who's required for what. And it's not even about a municipality not keeping up its maintenance. It's just when there was a disaster, when we had all that water, when we lost our lake also that same year, there was portions of river along the way to Neepawa here where it actually, the riverbank eroded, and then who's responsible for repairing that, and that isn't something that the trail is responsible for when it's something that happens in a municipality. So that's why this all came about, and I don't see anything different than what we would be already incurring, and I don't see it hurting us. So I would recommend that council definitely considers agreeing with the MOU.
There are several municipalities, including the town of Neepawa, who are partners in Evergreen Environmental, a Class 1 waste management facility located to the east of town on PR 466. Because of the increased traffic on that road over the past few years, it has deteriorated to the point that it has been at times been unsafe to travel on. The town is joining the rest of the partners in sending a letter to the province asking them to repair and upgrade the road to a reasonable standard to make it safe and fit for purpose for the environmental facility.
This Neepawa, Minnedosa, Carberry, Minto, Odana, Elton, North Cypress, Langford are all partners in a Class 1 waste management facility that we all know as Evergreen Environmental Technologies. This, over the years, has been a very successful program. And one of the things that there's so many partners involved with this that we have a lot of transportation on PR 466, which is south of Highway 16. And that road is severely starting to deteriorate and needs some capital upgrades to it. And so, as a group, we're partnering together to request the province to be able to take some steps to repair and upgrade that road because it's absolutely needed. And there's times this past year where it actually has got to the point that it hasn't been safe. So if you support this resolution, we'll send off a request to the province.
Finally, as part of the conditional approval for the subdivision designated for the new vocational high school, which was announced in 2023, although it has been delayed since that time, the town needed to conduct a traffic impact study. That study has now been completed and has indicated that the increased traffic, as well as the location of the intersection of Highway 16 and Highway 5 South, as well as the location and width of the bridge over the White Mud River, will mean that the access onto Broadway Avenue from Highway 16 will need to be closed. It's important to note that this will not happen in the short term. Construction on the school will not begin until 2026 at the earliest, and the access will not need to close until the school is opened. At that time, the Hamilton Street extension will be in place, and an alternative access near the new hospital will be available.
So I'll just read you a report to council on this particular topic to give you a good understanding of what the resolution you'll be discussing at the meeting. So on March 24, 2023, the PC government announced 9 new schools, which included a new grade 9 to 12 vocational school and child care center in Neepawa. To prepare for the new school, the Beautiful Plains School Division proceeded with action to secure a site within the southwest of 341415 and filed an application for subdivision in July of 2023. Council approved that subdivision on September 27, 2023, subject to a development agreement for servicing the property and meeting all of the conditions imposed by the various government departments and agencies during the circulation process. This subdivision was then conditionally approved by the province on October 16th of 2023. In November of 2023, we all knew the government changed and the new NDP government still announced their commitment to proceed with the construction of the previously announced schools. However, they noted that the timelines would be impacted as files were reviewed. Work continued, however, insofar as meeting the subdivision conditions. One of the conditions is related to obtaining a traffic impact study, the purpose of which will identify the amount and type of traffic that will be generated by the development, the potential impact on the adjacent road network, meaning PTH 16, and the type of highway improvements that would be required to safely accommodate the increased traffic. Once completed, the study must be formally approved by the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure before the condition can be released and the subdivision released. So based on information contained in that traffic impact study, it was very clear that the potential addition of a new school in the southwest of 341415 in proximity now to a new regional hospital will not only increase the density and type of traffic, but will increase the risk to public safety east of Neepawa. Also complicating that review was the location of the intersection of PTH 16 and PTH number 5. Of course, we all know it's at the bottom of 2 hills, one on either side. The location and the width of the White Mud River Bridge, and the existing location of the Broadway Avenue access that currently sits within the PTH 16 and 5 intersection functional area and fails to meet the standards for proximity to intersections at a distance of 208 meters. Unfortunately, based on a thorough analysis, the ability to safely accommodate the additional traffic generated by the addition of a new school east of Neepawa will require the closure of Broadway Avenue connection to PTH 16 in advance of or to coincide with the opening of the new school. So based on time constraints to close the subdivision and to secure the land, the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure agreed to release the approval of the traffic study. However, in doing so, now requires a council resolution agreeing to closing it and still place that on their file. But please note that at this point in time, the province has not formally announced the capital construction of a new school in Neepawa, but I would propose that because the administrative procedures are still ongoing and the province has been supporting them, it is a very good predictor that a school will come. It's just about when. So tonight I'm asking for you to discuss and debate and technically it's mandatory to get that subdivision closed, the closure of Broadway Avenue.
Okay, any discussions? Deputy Mayor?
So we, in discussions with the province, one of the comments that they made was that Highway 16 is a Trans-Canada highway meant for Trans-Canada traffic, not for internal town traffic and access. We have our Mountain Avenue is our main access in. We have other access points that have been there over time. And when we did our subdivision on the old CN property, we were told to close Crocus Street, which we ended up doing. And you know, that was one I took into town all the time, and habits change, and you know, don't even think about it now. So you get used to changes, and we all have to get used to changes. The school is a very important part of our community. We are currently 300 students over capacity just inside the town of Neepawa itself. And this is a vocational high school, which is also going to be training healthcare workers. So it's a good fix. You may have noticed over the years that a lot of the approaches to farmers' fields have been taken out and only one access allowed onto the fields unless there were extenuating circumstances. So we got used to that. Service lanes cannot be put in this location due to the location of the bridge and Highway 5. So this has all been panned out, and the importance of the school means that we can travel a different road to get in, which would be accessing across from the highway, the hydro station, or coming in on Brown Avenue and down Hamilton. So it's just something to get used to, and people do get used to new things. We gripe about them, but we end up doing it. So I'll vote in favor.
Yeah. No, those are good comments. You're right. We went through the changes that had to be made on the railway property, and you know, the other thing is we've all seen the functional design that goes through town here as the community changes, as the highway has improvements in that. There's a lot of other changes that will be coming to the community, and you know, it's not a case of highways trying to make our lives miserable. It is all in safety, and we do know that access on Broadway, certainly has been times that it's not the safest, and so unfortunately, you're right. People have to get used to change, and again, as the community grows, we're all going to have to be used to continual changes.
I think it's a small sacrifice for a great thing.
Yes. Yeah, the school is such a priority.
It's huge.
It's just desperate for that.
Well, I think it's worth note that it doesn't mean it's happening tomorrow.
No.
It just means we intend that it will happen
It will.
in time. That, yeah.
Also covered were the final deliberations of the Finance Committee, updating the tax sale resolution, and identifying this year's priority projects for the Water Services Board, most of which revolve around the new Project 320 subdivision. You can view end-to-end coverage of the council meeting elsewhere in NACTV's schedule or on our YouTube channel. If you have any comments or questions about these items or topics about council and the municipal government process in general, please contact us at 204-476-2639 or by email at nactvnews@gmail.com. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.